Hello there. Welcome to Just the Dis. We talk about Blu-rays here. My name's Brian, and I've got another collection update. Some fun stuff to talk about here. Let me get into it. I'll start with definitely one of my favorites of the year so far, and that is Scream Factory's Blu-ray 4K combo pack of The Great Alligator, which is, I don't know, for me, Animal Attacks is one of my favorite, genres, if you will. And I think Alligator is one of the best examples of the genre. I think it's a great Jaws knockoff in its own way, although it's not as literal in its rip-offness as something like Grizzly, which is, really transposing the Jaws plot right onto, a national park. And this is a little different. This is based on the idea and the myth of flushing alligators down the toilet, baby alligators, and having them populate the sewers of New York or wherever. So this is just a really fun exploitation animal attack movie, and was forever not on Blu-ray and not on DVD. I don't even think there was a nice domestic DVD. Like, I have a Region 2 DVD of it with Alligator 2: The Mutation, which has also come out, which I haven't seen, but I haven't heard great things about. But this is a wonderful set from Scream Factory. So you have their nice slipcase, and then we have, I flipped the artwork to the old original artwork, which I like very much. I like the slip artwork too, but so this is the 4K. And what's included that's cool is, so you have your 4K, and that's the theatrical version, and then you have the Blu-ray of the theatrical, and then you have a TV version as well, which has added footage. So for those that don't know, this is about an alligator that gets loose in this sewer in the city, and Robert Forster plays this cop who ends up sort of becoming involved in trying to stop the alligator, and there's a whole bunch of folks trying to do so, and he's not easy to stop, and he's not easy to find, and Henry Silva gets involved, and it's pretty crazy, but it's a blast of a movie. Directed by Louis Teague, who would do Cujo, among other things. He did a really interesting vigilante movie called Fighting Back. He did, I want to say Lady in Red. He worked in the Corman factory for a while, and that's where he first, I think, came into contact with John Sayles, who wrote the script for this film. And I love John Sayles as a filmmaker. I love him as a writer. And he even gets a interview on this disc, which is great. There's a lot of good stuff here to be had. Okay, so let's go through what you get. So you get this movie you've wanted forever in 4K, original new scan from the original negative, and that looks great. I've obviously never seen the film look this good. I was just overjoyed by the whole presentation. So the 4K includes that scan, and then the audio commentary with director Louis Teague and actor Robert Forster, moderated by a gentleman from Dark Delicacies. I don't know what DVD that was a part of, but obviously Robert Forster's no longer with us, and so it's an older commentary, but it is a great track. Forster is just so down to earth, and so I don't love actor commentaries always. It's difficult sometimes for me to get into those tracks, but I love Forster, and I love hearing him talk about his memories of the films, and Teague talks about sort of his approach to the movie, and it's really good. Like, I really like the commentary a lot. So you get that on both the 4K and the Blu-ray, but then the Blu-ray has all the features, and those include a new interview with actress Robin Riker, who's also very good in the film, and sort of the romantic lead, but also just like somebody with Forster that's trying to help stop this alligator. There's a new interview with Louis Teague, a new interview with special effects artist Robert Short, and then an interview with screenwriter John Sayles. and that's great. All those interviews are a lot of fun and enjoyable. You also get a Trailers from Hell from Karin Kusama, who really likes this film. And then you get your television version on that third disc. And so that's an original camera negative scan with additional footage scanned from an inner positive. So the difference here is the movie's 90 minutes long. That's a theatrical cut. The TV cut is 98 minutes. So you get 8 minutes of additional footage in that version. I haven't had a chance to check that out yet, but I always love TV versions. They always throw in something interesting. And so I'm very excited that Scream has included that. But overall, just really a wonderful presentation of a film we've been waiting for a long time, and it's worth the wait. You know, it's an easy enough thing to say, but definitely pick up Alligator on 4K. Very well worth your time. So that's the first thing. Then we have Miller's Crossing. This is the Criterion Blu-ray of Miller's Crossing. So it's second, as far as I can recall, Blu-ray edition. But this one obviously will be the definitive. This, of course, the Coen brothers' incredible, arguably their best movie, story of gangsters in the 1930s, 20s, and very much based on Dashiell Hammett, very similar to The Glass Key, if you've ever seen that. I saw that, much later after seeing Miller's Crossing, but, just an incredible cast, an incredible story with incredible dialogue, things like "What's the rumpus?" and he's a square G or whatever they say. Lots of great dialogue. Some of my favorite Coen brothers dialogue in this. And an incredible cast, including Gabriel Byrne, Marcia Gay Harden, John Turturro, John Polito, J.E. Freeman, Albert Finney, Steve Buscemi, and Turturro is really great. Look in your heart. So this is just really good stuff. 2K digital restoration approved by director of photography Barry Sonnenfeld. This is back when Sonnenfeld was working with the Coens, and the film looks great. It's approved by Sonnenfeld and Joel and Ethan Coen. New 5.1 surround mix, presented in DTS HD master audio. New conversation between author Megan Abbott and the Coens about film noir and hardboiled crime fiction. Very good stuff. I always love to see them interviewed and hear them talk about this sort of thing. New interview with actors Gabriel Byrne and John Turturro, moderated by Abbott, and interviews from 1990 with Byrne, Turturro, and actors Marcia Gay Harden and John Polito. New interviews with Barry Sonnenfeld, composer Carter Burwell, music editor Todd Cazzo, and production designer Dennis Gassner. Plus an essay by film critic Glenn Kenny in the booklet inside, which is a nice booklet. Very nice stuff. So Miller's Crossing, was so excited to get this on Blu-ray. Truly, truly a masterpiece of a film. If you haven't seen it, take the time. Take the time, because it is worth it. Okay. Another long-awaited Blu-ray here. I picked up Summer School from Shout Factory Select. This one has been sought after for many, many years. A cult item, but like on a very large scale, I feel like. From 1988, I want to say. 87. Directed by Carl Reiner, starring the very affable Mark Harmon and Kirstie Alley, as well as a host of young folks, including Dean Cameron, in the role that really made me understand how much I like him. It's a delight. It's a movie about sort of a slacker gym teacher who gets roped into teaching summer school after one of the summer school teachers quits his job. And that is a fun cameo because that teacher is played by Carl Reiner himself. He wins the lottery and bails out. And then Freddie Shoop, played by Mark Harmon, gets roped into teaching remedial English. And it is a challenge, to say the least. And it starts off basically as a free-for-all silly game, and then Freddy Shoop gets himself in trouble, and he's sort of backed into a corner and has to actually teach and try and get these kids to pass this English exam that they're supposed to take. And that, like I said, will be difficult because they are slackers to the nth degree. Some of them have legit reasons. Some of them have learning disabilities. Some of them are not even conscious during class. There's one character that's asleep all the time. We find out later what that's about. But then there's Chainsaw and Dave, and they are played by, I forget the other actor's name for whatever reason. But Dean Cameron is Chainsaw, aka Francis Grimp, and their favorite film is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The fun thing about the movie is it starts off with the students being sort of antagonistic, and it becomes much warmer. Ultimately, they all ask Freddy Shoop for one favor, and in exchange, they will show up and pay attention and do their best to pass the English test. So you get to see him interacting with these students and befriending them and helping them, and it's just a really sweet film, and funny and silly. He has a dog named Wondermutt. You can see right there, sort of the mascot of the movie. And Chainsaw and Dave are kind of special effects artists in their early years. They're big Rick Baker fans, and so they do their own makeup, and that becomes sort of a plot point. And anyway, just a very enjoyable 80s comedy, and one that is long overdue on Blu-ray. This is I don't remember if it says what the scan is, but it looks fine. Looks good. I believe this is porting over at least a couple of the features from the old DVD, including the audio commentary by Carl Reiner and Mark Harmon, which is good. There's some dead air starting about halfway in. They start to watch the movie, which happens sometimes with older actors or directors that aren't accustomed to doing commentaries. They sort of get sucked into it, but overall, they have some nice comments in the early parts of the track, and it's worth listening to. Inside the Teacher's Lounge featurette, Summer School Yearbook, and then a new School's In for Summer interview with actor Richard Stephen Horvitz. So definitely worth grabbing if you're a fan like me of Summer School. Next we have new from Full Moon. This is Remote. And it is from, I want to say, I thought it was like 93 or something like that. But I'm blanking on the year. Directed by Ted Nicolau. I remember this being kind of a Home Alone-y kind of thing. Get ready for a madcap movie about marvelous machines with Remote, a wild and hilarious 1993, good memory, family film from Moonbeam Entertainment, presented here for the first time in glorious HD transfer scan from the original 35 millimeter negative. So that's cool. When 13-year-old whiz kid Randy Mason creates a fleet of sophisticated remote-controlled toys, he soon runs afoul of both the local bully and his school principal, leading to a suspension and his mother banning him from using his ingenious devices. But when a cabal of crooks comes to call, Randy must defend his turf and rescue his lady love, Judy, using only his wits and his radio-controlled pals. So he's got all kinds of toys you can see there: helicopter, cars, plane, and more, and he's able to use them to thwart bad guys. And it's goofy, but it's fun. Remote was only the second Moonbeam Entertainment film to be released to video stores after the smash success of Prehysteria, which of course has also been available on Blu-ray. Full Moon is super stoked to be bringing this action-packed comedy fantasy movie from the past, looking and sounding better than ever before. So, I had to pick this one up. Just a sort of a fun curio from the 90s that I don't feel like anybody's talking about anymore. So, Remote, now available on Blu-ray. Next, we have one from the good folks at Film Detective, continuing their lovely work. This one is called Dancing Pirate with Charles Collins, Frank Morgan, and Steffi Duna. Now, I had not heard of this film. It apparently is about a dance teacher from Boston who is tricked into joining a band of pirates, which leads him to being fitted for a noose in California. He catches a break when the mayor's daughter demands the hanging be postponed until he teaches her to waltz. But his problems are only beginning, and Dancing Pirate 1936 received an Academy Award nomination for Best Dance Direction. Distributed by RKO Radio Pictures, this mix of comedy and rousing dance numbers was described by the Detroit Free Press as light, gay, and charming. Watch and see Charles Collins. Why Charles Collins was compared by one critic to Douglas Fairbanks in his most acrobatic days. So he looks like a charming dude. So this, as usual, features film detectives' care in supplements. We have an audio commentary and insert essay. So you get a booklet, small booklet here, essay, by author Jennifer Churchill. Glorious Pioneers, The Birth of Technicolor, an interview with author and historian David Pierce. And Ambushed by Mediocrity, Remembering the Dancing Pirate, an interview with film producer, historian Michael Schlesinger. So that is from 1936, and the latest, one of the latest from Film Detective. Definitely keep an eye on Film Detective, folks. Don't sleep on Film Detective. They're definitely doing great work. Next up, we have one from Paramount. I'll have another one from them as well. These were cheap. These are like $12 or $13, but really good stuff. Right here we have Murder on the Orient Express. This is the Sidney Lumet version, which has a pretty astonishing cast and is pretty great. It's a long movie. I want to say it's close to 3 hours. 127 minutes. Wow, I remember it being longer. Like a 2-tape VHS or something. But anyway, so this essential Agatha Christie whodunit adaptation boasts some of the most wonderfully eccentric characters ever created. Ingrid Bergman won an Oscar for her slightly dim-witted Swedish missionary, and Albert Finney is the dapper detective Hercule Poirot, for whom murder solving is a precise intellectual exercise. Packed with sparkling dialogue and visually rich in texture, this incomparable acclaimed thriller features an incredible cast, including Lauren Bacall, Martin Balsam, Jacqueline Bisset, Sean Connery, John Gielgud, Anthony Perkins, Vanessa Redgrave, and more. And yes, it's good stuff. It's very good stuff. Looking forward to revisiting this one on Blu-ray. Also comes with a digital code. It does have some features in it. Brings over the Agatha Christie A Portrait and Making Murder on the Orient Express. So you get a couple featurettes there that come over from the DVD. I remember those being good. In fact, I remember the making of being pretty involved, if I recall. But excited to dig into that. Murder on the Orient Express. And then also from Paramount, we have Foul Play with Goldie Hawn and Chevy Chase. And this one is a fun, goofy, sort of Hitchcockian thriller. It is written and directed by Colin Higgins. Colin Higgins, I know as the writer of Harold and Maude. So this is him writing and directing. Doesn't look like this has any features, but has a very interesting Dudley Moore performance. You have Burgess Meredith. You have all kinds of crazy stuff here. Okay, so this one, Oscar-winning Goldie Hawn teams with Emmy-winning Chevy Chase in his movie debut, I guess. With hilarious results, Beware the Dwarf whispers a hitchhiker to a beautiful librarian as he dies midway through a screening of a classic crime movie. Suddenly, she's propelled into a world of wild chases, bizarre attempts on her life, and deadly encounters with an assortment of weird underworld characters. When a San Francisco detective becomes personally and professionally involved, things only get wilder. Co-starring Dudley Moore as a hysterically misguided romantic suitor, this cult classic was written and directed by Colin Higgins, who also did 9 to 5. But yeah, Burgess Meredith, Rachel Roberts, Eugene Roche, Dudley Moore. It's fun. It's a fun, self-aware, Hitchcocky kind of thing, and definitely one that I have been waiting for on Blu-ray, and I'm glad to have. I wish it had at least some kind of features, but I guess there wasn't much on the original DVD, so they decided not to do anything for this one, which is too bad. But regardless, it's good to have it on Blu-ray. So that is Foul Play from 1978. Next up we have Nightmare Alley. Nightmare Alley, of course, had already come out on Blu-ray from Criterion. So we'll talk about that in a second. This is the new... this is from Signal One Entertainment in the UK. This is a Region B locked Blu-ray, but it also includes a DVD of the same film. This is, of course, the original Nightmare Alley that is based on the same source material that the new Guillermo del Toro film is based on. And I would assume this transfer is probably the same transfer as the Criterion. So I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. This is actually something I pre-ordered like 4 years ago. And it was announced, and then I was like, oh, when's it coming? And then it just kept getting delayed and delayed. I never canceled my pre-order, or I re-upped it one time. And then suddenly it was shipping. I was like, okay, well, you know, I love this movie. So anyway, this is the new version from Signal One. As far as what it contains, obviously the movie, a very great film noir about a gentleman played by Tyrone Power who gets involved with a carnival and then a mentalist act, and then sort of gets himself entangled in some bad dealings and gets himself in trouble. And that's sort of a very loose synopsis. But okay, so with this one, we get audio commentary featuring film historians James Orsini and Alan Silver. That is definitely on the Criterion Still Gallery. This has a new commentary, or at least new to the Blu-rays that I'm aware of, with writer and anthologist Johnny Maines and film expert Michael Brook. So you do get a new commentary track on this one. But, you know, your mileage may vary as to whether or not it's worth it to replace or supplement your Criterion Nightmare Alley. Obviously, I'm keeping this one. This one also has that commentary. This one has the new interview with film critic Imogen Sarah Smith, new interview with performance historian Todd Robbins, interview from 2007 with Colleen Gray, audio excerpt from 1971 interview with Henry King, in which the filmmaker discusses actor Tyrone Power. So, I mean, ultimately, the Criterion is the winner between these two. But that said, I do like this movie a lot. So if you're like me, you may still want the Signal One Blu-ray as well. What else have we got? Let's see. We have one from Kino called God's Gun with Lee Van Cleef and Jack Palance, as well as Richard Boone and Sybil Danning. I'm definitely excited to check this one out. This one has been available in all kinds of public domain transfers for years, but they've never looked good at all. And I feel like they've been like abridged, you know, like the running time was lower than it should have been. This says it's a 94-minute movie from 1976. This is a brand new 2K master, and it says, "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord." Screen legends Lee Van Cleef, Jack Palance, and Richard Boone star in this tough-as-nails Italian-Israeli spaghetti western from director Gianfranco Parolini. Sabata, Adios Sabata, Return of Sabata, the trilogy. A man of the cloth, Lee Van Cleef, is brutally murdered while trying to defend his dusty town from a ruthless band of outlaws led by the nasty Sam Clayton. That is Jack Palance. I love him as a nasty villain. I love him in anything, actually. The bandits, however, did not count on the priest's gunslinging twin brother, also Van Cleef, to seek bloody revenge. Produced by the legendary Golan Globus team, scored by Sante Maria Romatelli, and co-starring Sybil Danning and Leif Garrett. God's Gun is an unholy Western shoot-'em-up like no other. Sounds like fun to me. And it includes an audio commentary from Alex Cox, who is definitely one of my favorite commentators on spaghetti westerns and who has done a bunch of tracks for Kino and other labels. I feel like he's on some other labels talking about spaghetti westerns. He loves spaghetti westerns. And if you haven't seen his film Straight to Hell, which is sort of a send-up of spaghetti westerns, his own take, there's a great Kino Blu-ray of that. And he's very involved in the features on that as well. So anyway, God's Gun from Kino. And then I got a 4K here. It's one of the DC animated movies, which, you know, can be pretty good. This one is Catwoman Hunted. And I haven't had a chance to check this out. It's PG-13, so a little edgy for the kids maybe. Crime never looks so good. Catwoman, a.k.a. Selena Kyle, has no qualms about risking her 9 lives when a prize like the world's most valuable emerald is the reward. But with Batwoman and Interpol maneuvering to spoil her fun, she must tread lightly. Complicating this game of cat and mouse are the global crime juggernaut, Leviathan, deadly assassins, and a trail of twists and turns that may just trip up this nefarious feline. Suit up and steal a moment with this all-new anime-style DC movie. Special features when the hunter becomes the hunted, and Catwoman, the feline femme fatale. So yeah, this is a 4K, but it also includes a Blu-ray as well. Okay, so that is that. And here's the thing. So one thing I was noticing when I was digging around in my closet and in my garage was that I have a lot of film books. And so I thought, if I think of it, why don't I sort of highlight a film book of some kind at the end of some of these collection videos, see what you guys think. I'm going to start with something that's like a little, I don't know, a little rare, I think. This book is called Monsters Who's Who, and it is from 1974. And as you can see on the cover, it has like King Kong, and it has Dracula and the Wolfman and the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, maybe. So you open it up and you get all kinds of just monsters, basically. And it doesn't necessarily tell me what movies they're in, all of them. But yeah, it does have, actually, some of these are just movie titles. Yeah. And so you're getting like Captive Wild Women, and so some of these are monsters and some of these are movies. So it's a really interesting, Creature from the Black Lagoon is in here, of course. Crab monsters are in here. Daleks, it's touching on Doctor Who, Dracula, dragons, Hydra, the Human Torch, the Invisible Man. It gives a little synopsis of each one and stuff. Magnetic Monster, Medusa. So yeah, this is just kind of fun. And then it even covers like some TV stuff. You have like Captain Kirk there, and I don't know. So anyway, I found this in my closet, and I think I got it really cheap or maybe even free somewhere. But it's definitely the kind of movie book that if you're into like Universal monsters and 50s and 60s monster movies and 40s monster movies, it's a pretty cool one. And I'm glad the dust jacket is relatively intact, because it has, Phantom of the Opera and some other monsters on the back. Godzilla's on the back. And anyway, it says, from A to Z, all the blood-curdling horrors you love to fear. So that is my book pick for this episode. Monsters Who's Who from 1974. Who's the... I can't even tell you who the author is on this. Anyway, it's fun. I'll try and bring this in. Let me know in the comments if that's something you guys are interested in. Some of the books may be obscure and weird movie-related books like that, or they could be, more straight-up guidebooks, film guidebooks. I have lots of stuff like that to offer. So if that's something you guys are interested in, can't remember if I did that at some point. I mean, I've talked about books in separate videos, but I just thought it might be fun to incorporate into the video episode format. See what you guys think. So anyway, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Please have a wonderful week and enjoy some films. Bye-bye.